Hello everyone and welcome to another Minecraft Redstone tutorial. My name is Glitch. Today we will be looking at making a 2x3 piston door for you to use in your survival world. Now recently I have spent a lot of time working on turning a local village into a trading center. Now one of the first things I did was to set up a perimeter wall with a bunch of fence gates to keep the villagers in and safe, and the zombies, creepers, skeleton, and pillagers out in the cold. But as I worked on other projects in the village, I started to think that if you're going to have a walled village, why not take the time to make the gate just a little fancier? So after some work, I came up with a design that works in both Bedrock and Java using the same design. And although it can be customized with a variety of blocks for the actual entrance of the build, the option that I am using today uses stair blocks because they have a one face that is a full block and therefore hides the face of your sticky piston. So to quickly demonstrate, the door has an activation button on each side, and when the button is pressed, the gate will open, and it will remain open until a button is pressed. And I say a button because when you come out, you simply press the button again and the door closes. And the buttons work whether you're opening and closing on each side or coming through. Now, another advantage to using the stair blocks like these polished blackstone stairs is that it does give you a little bit of visibility for looking around. One thing to bear in mind is the fact that if a creeper sees you through these holes, unlike glass or iron bars, they will aggro and they will explode. The same applies to pillagers or skeletons. However, it does give them much more limited range to see the player, or in the case of a skeleton or a pillager, to see the villagers and to aggro on them. Now that we've seen the door in action, let's move over to a creative world and dive into the actual build. For this build, you will need the following supplies. Roughly half a stack of structure blocks, 6 stairs of your choice. These will be the stairs that will cover the actual entrance of the build. 1 piece of glass, 6 sticky pistons, 1 hopper, 4 redstone torches, some redstone dust, 1 repeater, 2 comparators, 2 droppers, 2 buttons of your choice, and 1 item that will go into your T flip-flop. You will also need either 2 stairs or 2 slabs. It is best if they match the floor of your build. Beyond that, you will also need structure blocks to hide the redstone, or you can also use 12 trapdoors to hide the extended arms of the pistons when the door is closed. You will also need an 8x8 area for the build. This will include the wall on either side of the build, and will help to conceal the redstone. You will also need to dig down 2 blocks below the floor level. So to start things out, come to the front of your build and you want to skip back 4 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then pick a side, and then you want to come to the edge of your build and skip to the 3rd block in. So 1, 2, 3. You should only have 1 block at the edge of the build, and you want to place 3 sticky pistons on top of one another. Come behind your sticky piston, and although because of the limited room you get in Bedrock Edition in Creative Flat World, you want to place a block in the ground behind your first piston, and then you're going to place a redstone dust directly behind that piston. Then take a structure block, place it over your redstone torch. This should extend your bottom 2 piston, and then place redstone dust onto the block. This should extend all 3 pistons. And then all we need to do is mirror that on the other side. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Place in your block, torch, block, and dust. Then you can add your blocks to the actual door. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to add in the stair blocks like I did in, in my survival world. All I did was place them on one side, they're upside down. On the other side, they are right side up. And then I just laid some stone across the top of that. As I said, I only chose stairs because of the fact that they have one face that is a full block, and therefore it hides the sticky pistons. Uh, if you can live with some of the sticky pistons face showing, feel free to experiment with different blocks and try and find something that fits your build style. That being said, now that we have the basic door set up, let's go ahead and wire up the opening and closing. For the opening and closing circuit, we are going to be using a T flip-flop. Now, a T, or toggleable flip-flop, basically does the opposite of a monostable circuit. A monostable circuit turns a redstone signal, a constant redstone signal, into a pulse. So with a lever, you get a constant signal. However, with a monostable circuit, when it's activated, even though this is constantly powered, we only get a pulse from our circuit. With a T flip-flop, on the other hand, it takes a pulse, such as you would get from a button, and turns it into a constant signal. Now, there are a variety of ways that you can set up this kind of circuit, but the one I tend to use most is made by placing a dropper facing upwards and then another dropper facing over a hopper. There's a comparator reading it when something is in the dropper, and then within the dropper we have one item, and it can be any item to be perfectly honest, as long as it's just one. So when the button is fired, the item is fired out, it falls into the dropper, that removes it from this dropper, therefore the comparator no longer gives out a signal. The item slips through the hopper into the bottom dropper, and then as soon as you power the system again, it fires the item back up into your top dropper, giving out a redstone signal and giving us a constant signal that we can use to power something. Now, one thing to note with this design, even though your comparator is placed on the hopper, you can take additional signals from the out of the system. Let's go ahead and I'm going to just hop up here, place down a comparator, and go ahead and place a redstone lamp down. And you can take a redstone signal out of any one of the sides of the hopper that isn't receiving power from your repeater or redstone line. So to wire up your T flip-flop, start out by digging out the backspace of your build 2 blocks below the ground level. Then come to the block directly under where your stairs will be when the door is closed, and you want to place in a dropper facing up, come to one side, place another dropper facing towards the side of the build. About to place a hopper on into your bottom dropper, and then place a comparator facing out of your dropper. Then place a structure block with the comparator running into it, and then place a redstone torch on the opposite face of that block. This should invert your torch behind your piston and also depower your dust, which will open one side of the door. Then go ahead and place in 2 blocks behind your bottom dropper, place another comparator down, place redstone dust out, and then place one more structure block so that it is directly under your pistons, and place in another redstone torch underneath. That should depower the opposite torch and dust, and therefore your door is now open. Now, while you're working, if you want to make sure that nothing drops in on you while you're working on setting up the circuit to open and close the door, then go ahead and click on your top dropper, place your item in, and that will close your doors back up, because now that the comparator is giving out a signal, it inverts this torch, which allows the other torches to reactivate, closing your door once again. Now, one other thing I do recommend, though it is not required, is that you take one piece of glass and place it on the side of your comparator, because then when your item is fired out of the dropper, it lessens the chance that it will miss. Because if you are on, for example, a multiplayer server, server lag does happen, and that can sometimes cause the item to miss the hopper. Now, as far as setting up your actual opening switch, you can do this on either side. I will usually start out by doing this on the inside. So start out by placing two structure blocks coming off of your your bottom dropper, and then place one more on the side of that. Then you want to run a repeater into your top dropper, and then come to the other side, and what you're going to do is work your way up to the ground level. So come out, oops, a little further back, come out, one more, and then on this button, actually do this, and then you want to run redstone dust up through to your ground level, and then you're going to go ahead and crouch place a block over top of this last piece of redstone dust, and this is where your button will go. And then, once we have that all set up, we can go ahead and press the button, and our door opens. Press it again, and the door closes. And then you can go ahead and place in your flooring blocks on this side. Now, one important thing to remember is, because redstone dust will be cut off if a solid block is present. If we were to place a solid block here in this space, it would cut this redstone line off. This is where our slab or stair that matches the floor block comes in, because when you place a slab or stair there, you'll notice that the redstone dust continues to be connected. We go ahead and place in a solid block, you'll notice it doesn't. Place that back in, and we'll go ahead and finish off the floor. Now, when it comes to wiring up the circuit for the other side, come down, and what you want to do is place a piece of redstone dust coming off your opening circuit from the inside, break out one block, place dust in there, and then you're going to do the same thing where you work your block up to, we'll break these out, up to the floor level, and then this would be our floor level here, so we're going to go ahead and redstone dust, crouch place the block, and then we just simply need to connect it up. And then go ahead and place your button down, press, and your door opens back up. And then you simply need to repeat with your slab, and then you can add in the flooring of your choice. And that is the door all set up, and then all you need to do is either build up your wall on either side, or if you want, you can also use, as I said, trapdoors to go ahead and crouch place them in. And they add just a little bit of a decorative flare. But you can honestly use whatever blocks you would like to add a little bit of extra flair to your build. Whether you are trying to hide an entrance in plain sight or just make your entrance a little more grand, piston doors are one of the fun and interesting aspects of Redstone that you can use as you build and create your Minecraft world. I hope you find this build useful. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. And also consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. My name is Glitch, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.